That was a pericope.
Yeah, I know, but that shouldn't be any problem.
Online.
Oh, yay! Here we are. Hooray! Aloha! It's Hope Johnson for Wisdom Dialogues.
What's a periscope?
Oh, it's something where I stream live. Look, there's 5 people already on there. That is awesome.
Weird.
Thank you for joining.
I've never heard of periscope.
Periscope.
Yeah, never heard of that.
Welcome, Periscope peeps. Thank you for joining.
There's 13 people.
Yeah, people are
okay.
on that thing. So I have a super fun topic today. Super fun topic. It's on the topic of sexual healing. Isn't that fun? Yeah. So here's what I wrote. Sexual healing is an unattainable goal because sexuality itself is a projection of a sick mind. Yay! Sexuality doesn't need to be avoided, nor does it need to be healed, because either way, it's just an attempt to avoid the underlying problem.
All right, stream over.
Thank you. Thank you. So, the first question that comes up about this is, how is that neutral? Didn't sexuality give life to all of us? So that's really fun. So, sexuality is really no different than any other perception. And all of the perceptions are meaningless. All of them. Okay? It's not something special. It's not something evil either. It's not something. Yeah, turn that back on. It's not. Oh, I'm weird. Okay, thank you.
You're weird.
That's a good one. It's not evil. It's not wrong. It's not bad. It's not good. It's not anything. It's just nothing. Okay, it's really nothing. And neutrality comes from recognizing that all of the things that arise in the perception are the same. That's neutrality. They're all the same. It's not like one of them is one of the things that arises is more sacred or special than another thing in the perception. Someone says biology matters. Biology is also in the mind. Biology is also projected. It's a projected, what would you say, a hologram. Okay, it's sort of like a stage, and there's props on the stage to give us that feeling of separation, that sense that we actually did separate from reality. Okay, and sexuality is one of those. It's just one of those things. It's not anything. It's made into a big thing. It's made out to be that we need sexual healing and or we should. I've even seen it extrapolated to this thing where we're supposed to have a lot of different sexual partners, or extrapolated the other way where you're not supposed to have any sex. And, it doesn't really matter. It's arising as a matter of course, just like all other perceptions, just like everything else that arises in the perception. It's not anything to make important. That's the thing about it. One way that people like to make it important is to say that it has given life. See? And that's a total misunderstanding of what life is. Life doesn't begin with birth. Life doesn't begin with conception. Life is being. Life is being. The sexuality thing is set up in the illusion as if that's the beginning of life. That's how life gets created, let's say. But what kind of life is that ultimately ends in death? What kind of life is that? That is not life. That's a projection over what real life is. It's projected over what life really is. Okay. Let's see what other questions I have about that. Physical life forms begin with sexual union. Okay, apparently. That's an apparent thing. Okay. Apparently, physical life forms begin with sexual union. Someone asked, what do you mean by meaningless projection? Well, that's what all projections are. All projections are meaningless because projection is only possible after the thought of separation, after taking the thought of separation as if it's a reality. Okay, that's what makes any projection possible. And let me just say this. Any kind of sexuality, any kind of sexual relation is nothing compared to the ecstasy of being. It's nothing at all. And, seeking after it or trying to avoid it, both are the same thing. Both are the same thing. Because it only arises spontaneously within the perception. No one's actually making a choice for it or against it, but in just watching this, either this attraction to it or resistance to it, just in watching. This is all in the mind. It's not saying what you should or should not do. It's just all in the mind. Watching this attraction to it or this aversion to it, in watching that's what's making it out to be important. That's what's making sexuality out to be important, special. And in making anything important or special in the illusion, in the perceived world, that's what upholds the perceived world. See? And the perceived world isn't really what anyone wants. That isn't really what anyone wants. A lot of people think they want it. Think they want it to be much better than it is. Okay. Think they want things in it. Okay. But, reality is so much more ecstatic than that. It doesn't even compare. It actually doesn't even compare. You don't need bodies to feel this. You don't need bodies. There's only wanting bodies and bodies to come together, to keep coming together in this way, because there's a thought hidden in the mind that we've separated ourselves from reality. So there's an attempt to avoid knowing that reality actually is. Aloha. It's millions of years of evolution. Actually, there is no being before birth. Okay, well that's fun. You can have that. I'm happy with you having it that way. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So, all time, even billions of years, it's projected right now. In fact, the whole timeline and all timelines are projected from right now. There's only this moment. Okay, so even if it's made up of billions of years, that's a projection from right now. Nothing ever happened. Nothing actually happened. And nothing's happening now. It's a dream. It's very dreamlike. The human body it seems like that. Yes, I know. The human body is a manifestation of physical pleasure. So it seems, yes. But the human body and the physical pleasure are both a manifestation of mind. They're both a projection of thought. In fact, one thing doesn't cause the other. Cause and effect are only apparent, with no time being anything, time not being anything. The act of consummation didn't really happen before the birth. It's not like that. It's one projection. It's a projection of mind in this moment. Where are you? Well, logistically, if you're talking about in the illusion, I'm in Hawaii on the big island in Hawaiian beaches. But, no one's really anywhere. Someone said, I'm imagining my manhood in your mouth. Okay, that's fine. You can also have that too. No problem. Okay, I don't know if I have any other questions here. It seems to me that it's pretty clear, pretty simple, very, very simple. There's not really a whole lot to talk about on this, but I've had some questions when I posted. It was like, oh my goodness, how can sexuality be a meaningless perception? And I have to say, how can you hold anything out in this world as if it's not a meaningless perception? No, unless you want to uphold this world. which is the thought, which is the common thought that we want to keep this world, only because of feeling like we're unworthy of what reality is. And let me just say one more time, any kind of sexuality completely pales compared to reality. This reality that we are is orgasmic without needing anything, That's not to say that in the perception, sexuality cannot happen and it cannot be orgasmic and beautiful and lovely. But that's only because of you. That's only because of you. It's because of who you are. It hasn't done anything to you. It's because of who you are. You bring that to the table. Okay? And you can get this sense of orgasmic being whether you're engaging in sex or engaging in, let's say, going for a walk. Or let's say, reading a book. Or how about having this live stream right now? It's all orgasmic. Okay. So then there's no need for anything. There's no need for, okay, I have to have this, or a need for, I have to learn how to avoid this, how to avoid lust. It's nothing like that at all. It's so much simpler. The perception arises, and you recognize who you are in relation to the perceiving. Who you are in relation to the perceiving. That's all. That's all. Things rise and pass away. Things arise and they pass away. Sexuality arises and it passes away. Everything's going to pass away. Everything is going to pass away. You know what's not going to pass away? You are not going to pass away. And neither is your reality, which is not a thing and which cannot be conceived from this limited mindset. In your reality, you're not even thinking about sex. It's nothing. It's nothing. You've got it so much better than that already. But that doesn't mean that while you're here, you shouldn't think about sex. In fact, you're not even capable of thinking. Let's put it that way. Thoughts arise, and you either identify or not. That's your choice. That's the choice you're making, the only choice there is. I am. Yes. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake. It looks like I have no other questions, and I feel complete. I'll give it just a few seconds to see if any other questions arise. Please go ahead and post them if you like. I struggle, it says. Well, no, you don't. No, you don't, actually. An appearance of struggle arises. An appearance of struggle arises, and you take it to be yourself. You're not capable of struggle. You are not capable of struggle. And there's nothing to struggle with. That's the thing. You would have to make an illusion meaningful in order to struggle with it. Sexuality is one of those things. Everyone who has made the illusion meaningful struggles with it. That's just how it goes. Either they're not getting enough, they're not getting the right amount, they're not getting the right kind, or they feel like they're getting too much, or they're getting taken advantage of, or they're taking advantage of other people. See what I mean? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. There's no struggle. There's no struggle without identification. When there's identification, then there's a struggle. You take sexuality to be valid and real, then you're going to have a struggle. That's the way it works. You may think you're on top of the world for a while. Oh, I'm getting it exactly the way I want it. Look, I've got all these partners and I'm getting exactly what I want. The thing is, it's always taken away from you. It's always taken away. It's always going to be taken away from you. That's the way it's set up. That's the way it's set up. So if you don't identify with it, sexuality can arise just fine. It's completely guiltless. It's also completely guiltless. Meaningless is also guiltless. There's no guilt in it. But making it as if someone needs sexual healing, you need some sexual healing, it's kind of like a new age thing. I don't know if it's just set up so, people can get laid and feel less guilty for it. I don't know. Like, well, oh, it's for sexual healing. We're holding space. We're holding sacred space here. See? It's nothing. It's just another meaningless illusion that the mind gets attached to and makes it into something. Anything that's made into something that you can identify with is what upholds the illusion, lengthens time, increases suffering, and keeps you apart from being. See, if everything was looked at as with neutrality, if everything was looked upon with neutrality, everything in the perception is nothing. Or if you want to say everything in the perception is everything, that works too. It's just that nothing's held apart, as if it's special, or as if it needs healing. That needs healing. There's one problem. There's only one problem, and that's the belief that we separated ourselves from reality. And out of that problem is a guilty feeling. A guilty feeling. And from that guilty feeling, there's this attempt to make things that are things in the world, certain things, special, and try to run from them. It's a projection. Or run and hide. Certain things are special in a way that they can harm you, and other things are special in a way that they can heal you. It's all hiding from the source of being. Thank you. I appreciate you. And it appears I am complete. I appreciate you joining. Please check out my website if you're interested in joining my mailing list. You'll get some great downloads from that. HopeJohnson.org. Just my name, HopeJohnson.org. Check out my mailing list. Also, if you're interested, you could check out the first chapter of my recent book for free. It's called Unschooling for Parents. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho!